Okay, so as we load into the game, I'm going to take this moment to talk a little bit about the cinematic art that you saw just now. Obviously, we're not trying to go for photorealistic. We really are. We have what we consider to be one of the best concept art teams in the industry, and we felt that it was as a great, compelling way to use some of this concept art in a way to communicate storytelling, and so. Our cinematic style is much more of a handcrafted, painterly style as opposed to photorealistic, which we feel photorealistic can quickly get out of date depending on what technology is using, whereas great art is forever. And so we want our world, both reflected through things like the cinematics as well as the engine, to feel like you are literally walking in the middle of a great piece of fantasy art.
You don't want to miss a chance for glory, do you?
So we're going to go ahead and we are outside the great city of Holbrick, and we've just arrived in time for the annual Great Hunt. And we're going to talk to this NPC here, Thora, to learn how we can participate in the Great Hunt.
Part of this year's Great Hunt?
I am. Tell me what I must do to prove myself.
Hunt down 3 of the wildest animals you can find. Take trophies from each of your kills and present them to Ido. Whoever has the best trophies and whose bravery is the greatest gets to join the Great Hunt. Newt Whitebear has said this season's event will be one of the most dangerous, so be ready. I've even heard the renowned heir Stegolken might attend.
I look forward to impressing them both, after I've earned my place in the hunt.
For glory!
Okay, so you'll see on the upper right that what appeared is the Great Hunt. The Great Hunt is part of the personal story. You'll see across the game engine, there are these NPCs or markers with the green starburst. What we wanted to do is make sure that it was very clear what parts of the game are moving your personal story ahead. The personal story to a lot of people is one of the most important things they have in the game. That's very different from other types of content that you'll experience. So here we've gone ahead and talked to a tracker to help us flesh out the Minotaur. We need to collect a trophy off of them. So this would be a good time for us to talk just broadly about how the Guardian plays relative to other professions. The Guardian is a heavy armor profession, but with magical abilities. The three virtues that are represented up here in the UI are one of the things. Here, I'm going to turn the volume down a little bit. Okay. Are 3 of the things that distinguish the Guardian as a profession. Inherently, the Guardian has these 3 virtues that empower them to do mystical things, like, for one, justice. The virtue of justice allows their attacks to have a burning effect. The virtue of courage allows them to shrug off blows. And the virtue of resolve enhances their self-healing abilities. Now, these are incredibly powerful abilities that make the Guardian a force to be reckoned with. But what makes the Guardian very distinct is that the Guardian can then choose, when they're surrounded by other players, to sacrifice a virtue in order to benefit the greater good. So a Guardian, when surrounded by other players, is always left up with the choice, like, am I better off powering myself with my virtue, or am I better off sharing it with a broader group of people and enhancing them? So the Guardian has this ability to have a great support role within any encounter with lots of other people. So as we go through the hunt, you'll see one of the things that Sarah just did is interact with the environment to bait the trap to summon these skelk. It was very important for us to go ahead and have elements in the environment that you can actually, interact with, do things with, and again, be more immersed. Let's see. So we've gone ahead. She's been very efficient. She's gone ahead and collected all of the trophies needed. So now we are going to present these to Ido the Tanner and hopefully get qualified for the Great Hunt. As we run through this area, if you've seen the human area that we showed last year, you'll notice that the field, the appearance, all the ambient weather effects are great at kind of setting the mood for the Norn environment, which is this misty morning, Nordic feel.
Hail, Hunter. I'm the local leather worker. I know them. Show me your kills, and I'll make them into trophies you'll be proud to show at the moot. Drinking, singing, and boasting. I love a good old-fashioned moot. Others say they're parties for holidays, but I say everyday lives worth celebrating. Hey, Newt, look at these impressive trophies. Worthy of the great hunt, I'd say.
Indeed. You are skilled enough to defeat your prey, and wise enough to revere their spirits. You are worthy to join in this year's great hunt. By my own hand, I brought the mighty worm Isormir. He waits above in the plateau for one such as you to challenge him. The great heir Stegalkin watches over him now, waiting for the hunt to commence. When it is time, you and the others will go to the high ground over the valley. There you will face Isormir. Claim victory, if you can.
I can and I will. This is where my legend begins.
All right. So we've been instructed to join Heir Stegalkin to take on the great ice worms Isormir as part of the Great Hunt. Heir is actually one of the great heroes of the Norn race. She's one of the major characters in one of the Guild Wars books that we just released, Edge of Destiny. So in talking to Heir, we're going to go ahead and run up to face the ice worm.
May snow leopards spot danger in your path.
So we're being joined both by other players that we have joining us from ArenaNet, and as well as NPCs.
And the wisdom to understand.
Walk with the pack. In the eyes of wolf, we are all brothers and sisters.
And as we enter the area, you'll go ahead and see that we have your first dynamic event. Immediately, you don't have to talk to an NPC. It appears in the upper right-hand corner. You see a description of the event as well as the progress bar for how far in the event it's gone. We can immediately enter the event and start participating. We can be helping these other players. And again, we aren't competing with these other players for XP. As long as we participate in this event, we will go ahead and get full XP, and so will the other players who participated. We've gone ahead and we've entered the next phase of this dynamic event. We defeated the small ice worms, and that has roused the big ice worm, the giant ice worm, Isormir.
There's our prey.
So, as we mentioned, in our combat, we never want somebody to just be standing necessarily in one place hitting the same button over and over again. We don't consider that to be fun combat. It's very important that you... Wow. That was fast. That is the fastest I've ever seen the worm go down. Damn. Well, we can talk a little bit more combat in settlement.
Thank you. It was a hard-fought battle, and I'm proud of my part in it.
An excellent beginning to your legend, friend. You know, a lot of folks around here have problems.
That is one of the things I will say about having a game with dynamic events. The strength of the dynamic event is that it's unpredictable. Things can happen faster or sooner than you thought, and that is great from a gameplay perspective. It can make it difficult from a demo perspective.
Then we will see how my legend grows.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and claim the rewards that we got from participating in the Great Hunt. And before we leave this area, let's just go ahead and show them the scouting system.
Hey, Slayer of Isormir, if you want to hear about more ways to gain glory, talk to me.
So, as we know in MMOs, there are a great variety of ways to play the game and experience content. There are people who just love to explore completely freeform and discover things as they come. And you know, Guild Wars 2 is going to be great for that because they'll be able to experience whatever dynamic events they run into. However, there are certain people who would prefer that an MMO do a better job of telling them where to go, what to do. And for that reason, we had the scout system. Do we want to pull that? Can we pull that map up again? Yeah.
This valley is a secret.
So you see that we go ahead and mark places on the map with these hearts. These hearts are generally hotbeds of dynamic event activity, and so by guiding you into those areas, you will discover the dynamic events and experience them as well.